All right, y'all. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you're tuning in. I'm grateful to have you here. And we got Ami Horowitz back in the building with how white liberals really view black voters. So I'm sure it's going to be an interesting one. Shout out to my man JP over on my Patreon family for today's request. All the way airborne, baby. You know, I got to say it to him, but set that over here. Let's get it popping.
I'm Ami Horowitz, and I'm here in Berkeley, California to find out if voter ID laws suppress the black vote.
I bet this is going to
Do you
be
have
a
an opinion
doozy.
on voter ID
And we're
laws?
on the West Coast.
Yeah, they're usually pretty racist and they're bad.
I think voter ID laws are a way to perpetuate racism.
Would you go as far as say those laws are racist?
For sure.
Do you think it suppresses the African American vote?
Definitely.
Tell us how.
Because they're less likely to have state IDs.
Minority voters are less likely to have the kinds of IDs that have been described or required.
These type of people don't live in areas with easy access to DMVs or other places where they can get identification.
You can always get IDs you do over the internet. Does that also make it difficult for black people in particular?
Yeah, you have to have access to the internet. You have to be able to pay an internet service provider for certain fees.
Do you think that's harder for black people to go online?
Well, I feel like they don't have the knowledge of
black
how,
folks
of,
don't
like,
got the
how
internet.
it works.
A lot of people have smartphones, but you might not have data.
For most of the communities, they don't really know what is out there just because they're not aware or like they're not informed. I also think there's a repression of like, black voting with how if you're a convicted felon, like you're not allowed to vote and everything. And when you look at swing states like Florida, that's a huge population of the like African Americans.
Now I'm here in East Harlem
What
to
are these
ask
people
black
smoking?
people their thoughts on what you just heard. Do you have ID normally? You carry ID around?
Yes, I have state ID.
Do you carry ID?
Yes, I do.
Do you know any black person who doesn't carry ID?
No. Everyone that I know has an ID. Why would they think we don't have ID?
That's a lie. Why would they say that?
Do you have ID?
Yes.
I wonder.
I have my ID and my friends have their ID, so like, we know what we need to carry around.
Everybody that I know have ID. Like, that's one of the things you need to walk around with New York with, an ID.
Do you know any black adult who does not have ID?
No, I don't.
Is it a weird thing to even
Me
say
either.
that?
Yes.
I'm with you, sister.
What is this, some type of trick candy camera?
I know, right? That's the only thing I brought with me.
Those are legit IDs. I heard a lot also that
My man back there look kind of like Luke Cage.
black
Luke Cage
people
and Mark.
can't figure out how to get to the DMV.
Really?
What does that say to you?
I know it's that. It's on 25th Street.
Do you know where the DMV is right
He
here?
told
It's
him
on
right.
125th Street and 3rd Avenue.
I'll take you to
You
it.
know how to get there?
Yeah.
Would you have a problem getting there if you had to get there?
No.
I know these sound like silly questions. You know how to get to the DMV?
Of course.
You know where it is?
Yes.
You can get there?
Uh-huh.
No problem.
No problem.
Just checking.
Oh, man.
Okay.
And I also heard a lot that black people, especially poor black people, have no access to the internet, can't figure out how to use the internet.
Since when?
That's just stupidity, honestly.
False.
Everybody has access to the
Hold
internet. Even a little kid can figure out how to work the internet.
I had access to the internet
Amen.
for years.
You know how to use it properly, right?
Exactly. I do it at work.
She's like, excuse me, sir. Are you kidding me? You know who you speaking to? I got this. I do this. What? People just, oh my goodness, liberals are absolutely insane, specifically white liberals. And I know we're all one race, human race. We all bleed red, but some people, you just can't fix stupid. The ignorance is real out here in the streets. And until people start to open up their minds and stop feeding into this nonsense, this propaganda, or whatever you want to deem it, y'all let me know in the comment section what you would label it as. But I've grown up all my life around the black community, and I've never known any adult, without a state ID or a driver's license. So what in the world are these people on? Like, they really got some high, or they really are just that ignorant to the fact that black people got the same stuff that you got. They got internet. They know how to get to the DMV. They can get that ID. They can take. What is not adding up? Like, there's a feeding into this ideology of false rhetoric, and it's really messed up, and it's actually disturbing because I believe they were at Berkeley, and that's supposed to be, more educated, highly informed. Well, I guess not really informed, but Berkeley's supposed to be one of those top tier schools, supposedly, and my jaw literally dropped when she said that they don't got the internet, like they don't got internet access. What the heck are people thinking these days? Like, come on now, no
Of course I know
comprende.
how to use it. My kids know how to use it. They all have iPads, iPods, whatever.
Your phone
What are y'all
has
doing
data?
over there on the
You
West?
can actually
Unlimited.
Unlimited data.
I use my phone as a hotspot.
What does that say to you for the people who have
Come
this
on now,
perception
you
of
know what the
ID?
hot spot is.
They're pretty much ignorant.
Intelligent.
That's why my thought process on it.
I just think that's ignorant.
Ignorant.
Ignorant. That's the word I'm
Very,
hearing
very
a lot.
ignorant.
Ignorant.
Very, very ignorant.
Golden word.
Does it sound racist
Right on
for
the
somebody to say that?
I think it is a little racist because, you know, you're putting people in a category and you have no idea what you're talking about.
Maybe a little bit of racist in it, but like I said, I think it's more stupidity and ignorance.
Judging somebody, like, but
can't fix
judging
it
them because they black, say that they don't got it.
What people are they talking to? Who are these people talking to?
Do you have a problem that if you go
They're in
to
a bubble,
vote and they
an
say,
echo
"Please
chamber."
see your ID to make sure you are who you say you are," you
Love
cool?
showing my ID.
You got no problem with that?
Nope.
Would you have a problem if when you go to vote, if they say, "Could we please just see your ID to make sure you are who you say you are"? Do you have an issue with that?
No.
Would you have a problem if there was a rule where you have to show your ID in order to vote?
I don't think so. No.
Would you have an issue
Nope.
if there was a rule saying you got to show your ID before you vote?
Nah.
You cool with that?
Yeah.
My goodness. Ami Horowitz, shout out to him for having the composure to go out in the streets and just expose the lies and the falseness, the silliness that's going on in today's society. There ain't nothing racist about having somebody show an ID. You got to show an ID to get into the club. You got to show an ID to drink alcohol. Why shouldn't you have to show an ID to vote on some of the most important elections in the world? So some of the most important politicians that go into office that set these laws into place that affect our day-to-day lives, taxes, everything. So why would it doesn't matter what color you are, you should have to show your ID. There's nothing racist about it. They're not being suppressed. They need to stop pushing this victim mentality. It's really sad and depressing that people try to put their foot on your neck saying you can't do this, but they're out there doing the same thing that everybody else is doing. I'm a quarter black. Irrelevant at the end of the day. I got internet access. The next man or woman, black, white, Puerto Rican, Mexican, Canadian, doesn't matter what color, creed you are, what language you speak. I'm sure you got access to the same things that I got. Home of the free because of the brave here in America. The things that we take for granted, we all got it. The fact that you can spill your thoughts out in public like that without getting your head chopped off and say stupidity like that, you should be grateful for that. Because if you go over there to China or somewhere else, hey, you think things are tough over here. You think things are racist over here, you got another thing coming. But I like how these people are the first ones to call conservatives racist or bigots, but in reality it's interviews like this that really shine a light on the truth, and that's ignorance. Like everybody agreed across the panel, ignorance, and it's bliss. I don't got too much that wasn't touched on in that video that isn't a glaring fact of stupidity going across. And I know that's the word of the day. It might not be Christian of me to say, but hey, we need to wake up. We need to wake up. And I got a quote from the great scholar Thomas Sowell. If you have always believed everyone should play by the same rules and be judged by the same standards, that would have gotten you labeled as a radical 60 years ago, a liberal 30 years ago, and a racist today. Just because you want things to be fair across the board. You know how messed up that is? Really think about that. That would have got you labeled as a radical if you wanted people to all play by the same rules and judge by the same things. That would have labeled you a radical 60 years ago. But today, that's racist. It's messed up. We got things twisted, but I was cracking up because he was like, hey, do you know where the DMV is? And multiple people said, yeah, I can show you where it's at. It's on 25th or wherever they said. I can take you right to it. But liberals are the liberals that they interviewed at Berkeley. They're so confused and brainwashed or just uninformed that they don't realize that the things you got, they got. The things you got and take for granted, they could do the same thing, but they're not taking it for granted. They're like, I got hotspot. I got all this. I'm good. I don't feel bad for these people because they do it to themselves. You need to wake up, take a deep breath, pray, and go out in the real world and see how things are operating. Nobody's oppressed out here in the streets. This isn't the 1960s, the 1860s. This is 2022 when I'm doing this video right here. We got the same opportunities. If you're willing to grind, put in a little extra discipline, hard work, the best man or woman is going to get the job. It doesn't matter what color you are. If you want a certain education, go for it. You might have to take some extra steps. We're all dealt different cards. That's the way God created us, but you can always attain the things that you want to if you really are willing to go get them. But it wouldn't be one of my videos if I didn't take it to scripture. So if you're new, I always like to dish out a little soul food and take it to the Bible, basic instructions before leaving earth, because I got to talk about it each video. That's the good news. Despite all the craziness that we witness on a day-to-day basis out in the real world and on these videos, we got to keep it in fact, in truth, on the rock, the solid foundation that is Jesus Christ, that is the Bible, the good book. They don't call it the good book for nothing. So we're going to take it to it. Ephesians 2, verse 10. For we are his workmanship, all of us, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. So it doesn't matter what color you are, we're all his masterpiece. God, the one on the throne. So stop looking to the phone, look to the throne. That's my message for you. Comment your thoughts below. We could agree, disagree all day long in the comments, but we can still respect each other's views. But when it's some craziness is going on like this in the real world, we have to unveil the curtain. We have to show the false realities that are being portrayed. We can all go achieve success. We can all have peace and happiness and be fruitful. We got to be good to each other, and we got to wake up and start spreading the truth instead of all this nonsense. But hey, like, subscribe, notification bell if you're new so you can stay up to date on all my videos. Share this just so, you know, more people will wake up. And so whatever you get from my videos, I appreciate it. If you want to support the channel, you can hit that heart button, has a little thanks next to it. I appreciate it. Mrs. Gibson and I are forever grateful. You can buy me a coffee, donate on PayPal. You don't got to do any of that at all. If you're just here showing up, I appreciate the viewership and the friendship. Let's keep this community growing. Let's keep having these conversations. That's the only way we progress and get anywhere in society, is by talking, not just staying in an echo chamber sipping on these stupid smoothies. That's not going to get us anywhere. But outside of that, all my links are down below. If you want to get some Gibby gear, that's linked down below. All the products and brands that I stand behind that support me, always linked in the description. But for right now, I'm done ranting at y'all again. Shout out to my brother JP for putting me on to this video right here. Hopefully it made for some entertaining and awakening content. But until next time, I love y'all. I'm praying for you. Godspeed. I'm gone.